from the vault, high atop the pastoral center of the Diocese of Camden, you're listening to Talking Catholic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talking Catholic. I am Marianela Nunez, your co-host today, co-hosting with my friend and colleague here, Mike Bress. I almost said Mike Walsh, but welcome, Mike Bress. Greg?
Yes, thank you, Marianela. Yes, the man of many names, as to keep some confusion down. It was nice to hear. For the guests, we recorded a couple of podcasts today, and we recorded with some guests that had a lot of Toms in his life, and it was nice to hear that he had somebody else's name, because I am in the world of Mike's and you're in the world of Mike's in the diocese offices. So as many of the, if you listen to the podcast often, I am also lovingly called Greg after an honest mistake by a colleague at a party that is the name is now stuck, and I answered to it, so it's really ultimately my fault.
Right.
But how's everything going today, Mary? I know you and I have interacted a little bit outside of the podcasting world today, but how's your day going? Are you excited for what next week brings for you?
I am, and it's been great. I think a very productive day. You kind of like leave feeling like, oh, I did something today. It worked, and it was amazing. So I got to talk to a lot of people and have good conversations. And then I'm really excited about what's coming next week for Catholic Schools Week. At the time, the the one of the things that is very fun to do in our office is to go around and participate in the different events in schools and what you guys are offering right now. So I'm really thrilled, Mike.
Me as well. This is one of my favorite weeks. It is a long week, but an exciting week. It is definitely energizing week. It really allows us to see the best that our schools have to offer, as we sort of talk to even some of our guests that we'll introduce in a second. When we talk to them, we're always sort of celebrating our Catholic schools throughout the year, but it's nice to have a dedicated week where we can get the nation and our cities, our towns, our states, our nation to really look at Catholic schools in a great light and see what we offer and do really fun and engaging stuff. The events calendar that we have coming up this week, it was very hard for me to choose where I was going, and probably overscheduled myself. So I'm hoping to get to as much as I possibly can and be able to document it on social media for our folks, and the things that I can't, we hope our schools do, and then we'll absolutely share those things. So it's going to be an exciting week, and for listeners, it is a great opportunity. If you have not experienced visiting one of our Catholic schools, please do, especially during this week. This is what they do best, and it is a great opportunity to learn and discover a Catholic school for your children or for your grandchildren, nieces, nephews. It's a wonderful opportunity to see what our schools do so well.
Yeah, the kids are excited. Principals are, going crazy with all the activities going on. But, at the end of the day, they all love it. Folks like the ones that we're going to talk with today are very involved in this process. And so we're kind of like very excited today to have this conversation. I'm going to start introducing our guests now. And, these folks we typically work with very closely. And so today we're having a conversation with a special episode, basically featuring advancement directors who are not only dedicated professionals supporting our schools, but also are parents of students in our diocesan Catholic schools. They bring a unique perspective, balancing their roles as advocates for Catholic education while also experiencing firsthand the benefits of our schools through their children. We're going to hear about their journeys, insights into the impact of Catholic education, and the passion that fuels their work and their faith filled families' lives. It is a conversation you won't want to miss. So we're going to get started. And so for that, we have Megan Lafferty, who is the newly hired advancement director at Our Lady of Hope School in Blackwood. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Happy to have you. We also have Anna Caria, who is the advancement director at Resurrection Catholic School in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Welcome to the show one more time.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
We were excited to have you too. And we also have, last but not least, Kate Bieg, who is the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications at Camden Catholic High School in Cherry Hill as well. Welcome, Kate.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
We're happy to have all of you, and this is going to be a fun conversation talking about our kids and our jobs, and how that relationship goes, and how you live the mission of Catholic education, not only as professionals but also as moms in our system. So why don't we start asking you about your journey, where you are, like how many kids you have in our schools, and how did you start it? So we start with Kate. Kate.
So I am blessed with 4 little bigs. I have Seamus, who is a junior here at Camden Catholic, Tess, who's a freshman here at Camden Catholic, Cleary is in 5th grade at St. Rose of Lima in Haddon Heights, and little Eloise is in kindergarten at St. Rose of Lima as well. So I'm lucky. Last year we had Eloise at Rosebud, so I was at 3 different schools. So this year we're down to 2. So yes, we have quite the crew in my household.
That's amazing. What about you, Megan?
I have 3 younger children, kindergarten here at Our Lady of Hope, 3rd grade here, and 6th grade. He's our oldest one. He's in middle school. So I'm truly blessed to have my 3 little ones with me here, and they love it.
That's great. And Anna?
So my son Bryson is in kindergarten at Resurrection in Cherry Hill. And my son Cooper will be joining Resurrection in pre-K 3 next year, which I'm so excited about, to have both of them in the same building with me. Honestly feels like a dream. I mean, how many people can say that they have their kids at their job? So to have both of my boys here, I'm really excited about that.
I actively avoid it, so I'm glad you embrace it, because it's this is my safe zone from my children. I think it is wonderful, and I mean, for me, that's going to be sort of the first question: is how does that experience feel? Knowing that you or at different times have your kids in the building, but also that you sort of have a real true connection to their school, to what their education is like. Anna will start with you, having the littlest guys, but
Yeah.
what is that like, and how are you excited to have both of them in? What's that experience like for you?
So it's funny, Mike, because it can be tricky. I mean, so, it is really nice when I'm giving a tour or I'm in the hallway and I feel a little hug on my leg and I look back and it's my son. Like, there's no better feeling. But also there's the other side where he is a student and I'm a parent, and you do have to keep that line. So he's an active boy, and there's times where he may not be listening or things like that. So sometimes you may hear maybe more because you are in the building, but for the most part, our schools are so great with kind of keeping that professionalism and making sure if there ever is something that's going on, they will contact you separately. Teachers aren't going to grab you in the hallway and be like, hey, your son did this, which is really important. I just think it's good to have those boundaries. But yeah, it just has been fun. It's just nice to know I've been at my school. This is the 12th year. I taught for 10 years, 1st and 2nd grade. And then this is my 2nd year as advancement. And it's just so nice because I know this community. I know the teacher so well. And I just feel like he's in the best hands possible. So just knowing that, and I feel like our other families feel that too, but I have a little bit more information, just from being here every day. So it's just a nice, it just makes you feel, good, and know that, he's being taken care of.
How about you? How about for you, Kate?
I totally agree with all of that. And I obviously have different age children. So at the high school level, it's different, but the same in many ways. I moved offices over the summer, and so I have kind of this little reception area, and I decided to put up a little candy bar because I thought that would be a great way for the kids to just pop in and say hi. I mean, in general, the students, because I don't teach any classes, but I want to be able to get to know the students. I want them to know my name. I want to know their names, and get to know all the great things they're up to, because that's my job, is to share the awesome things that our students in our school does. So I have found that with this little candy bar, my children are stopping in way more regularly than they used to, and their friends as well. But it's awesome to get to hear what they're up to in between classes. And it's so nice to just get to know their friends, especially because at the high school level, you're not so much a town-based school. St. Rose of Lima, where my other two are, is really, very specific to where the kids are coming from. Camden Catholic, the kids are from 70 plus different grammar schools and 80 plus towns, or whatever it is. So it's so nice to get to know the kids on a different level in the hallway, and then also see them out of school. And out and about in the community at service projects, or at my own house visiting with my kids, and also get to know the parents on a different level too. And I love being able to be a contact for parents. They might feel more comfortable coming to me with a concern, or a positive message of encouragement. I've seen random phone calls come through my phone and say, "Oh, what does this parent need?" on my cell phone. And they're calling to let me know, "I just want to let you know what an awesome email my child just got from their teacher. And please be sure that the administration knows what an amazing job this teacher is doing." So it's not necessarily specific to my child, but maybe it's a friend of theirs and their parent knows me now, so they feel comfortable sharing that positive insight. So that part is really great. And it is nice. Last week, I had an incident where a faculty member stopped by my office to check on my son because he just wasn't himself. And I said, "I know, I think he's hit a wall. He's tired, dual sport athlete, doing, burning the candle at both ends, trying to get the exam studying in." So it was just so sweet for her to check in with me. And I really, really appreciated that. It's an awesome benefit.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. How about you, Megan? I know this is new to you, a little bit being new to the role, but how has it been so far with being able to go to school with your kids?
It's been amazing. This is new for me. So this has actually been an amazing thing, coming to school with them every day, being here, having one come in and check with me after lunch just to say hi, or my other one's really shy, so he just needs an extra hug and walk to the classroom. It's just been a really great thing to be here. And as the advancement director and promoting the school, the best thing I feel I can say is my 3 children go here, and that's how much I trust this school, is that 3 of my children attend here every single day. So that's been a huge selling point. Every time I pick up the phone, I'm like, "My 3 are here," and they're like, "Your 3 children go there?" I said, "Yeah, they're here." And I range from the littlest to the middle school, so I can really talk to each level. So it's been a great transition here. It's been wonderful, and I really have enjoyed being a mom and a professional here.
That's
Talking
great.
about that, Mike, it's the idea of being people who promote our schools and talk about our schools and the value that Catholic education provides. Start with Kate. Maybe like how do you feel that having children in the school has impacted the way you talk about the schools to in your case it'll be to in communications and not directly maybe to the families, Kate. But how does that experience of having kids in the school and seeing what the teachers are doing, seeing the curriculum, how is it going, and the feel and the experience of your children, how has that affected the way you communicate about the schools you've been to?
It's the best. I always say the word of mouth can be your best friend or your worst enemy when you're working in PR and marketing. And the fact that I've been able to experience it firsthand, and I can speak honestly about my experience. And thankfully, being at Camden Catholic, I have all amazing things to say about it. It's just incredible, because I'll give you an example with back to school night. The last 2 years I've sent my husband, because I say to him, "I know everything that goes on the day-to-day basis. I know all the faculty members. I know the classes the kids are taking. Why don't you go?" But this year I came and I emailed the entire faculty the next day to just let them know without standing that I'm an employee here, I said I was so impressed. I said I was just as impressed at our back to school night as I was at our open house by visiting the different classrooms of the courses my kids are taking, and just hearing the degrees that the teachers have, the experience they have, the places they've worked before, because many come from the business world, actually, especially our math and science teachers. And just the way that they interacted with the parents was absolutely incredible. And even Jim Crawford, who has been a teacher here for almost, I think, 50 years, 51 years. And he's an algebra teacher, but he spoke to the parents with his limited, 8-minute session about Catholic education. Like, it would have been a great ad if I had recorded it for South Jersey Catholic schools and just saying, listen, I'm holding these kids accountable. However, I've never failed anyone. I don't want them to fail. I want to make sure they're coming to class. I want to make sure they're doing their homework. I want to make sure they're studying. And I want to graduate good young men and women. And that's why you are spending the money you're spending, because we are teaching these children values. And he's a math teacher, so it was so nice to see. It was just like a great evening to see who my children are interacting with on a daily basis, because they're seeing them in a different way than I'm seeing them in the faculty lounge or at faculty meetings. So that was incredible. And then just to be able to see firsthand, going to monthly mass as a student body and getting to hear Father Robin's homilies. So Father Robbins and I actually connected at the beginning of the school year. I said, hey, let's record a monthly video to send home to parents, because his homilies and his sermons are so inspiring. And I said, parents should know what their children are experiencing at these masses that we're hosting monthly. And at least they can watch a 1 or 2 minute video from you, and maybe they'll strike up a conversation with their child. Say, hey, I forgot you had mass yesterday. Tell me about it. What did Father Robbins impart to you about your faith? So things like that, I think, are super helpful in helping me kind of craft the message that I want not only prospective families to see, but also our current families. Let's continue to share what we're doing on a daily basis so they know the hard work that's going into each day, and the effectiveness of Camden Catholic on their children's faith, mind, body, and spirit.
Wonderful. Megan, would like to hear from you as well on that.
Yeah, I mean, just being here and being so new, I've been walking around and just listening to the teachers, just walking down the hallway, and how well they speak to the students, and how well they deliver the message of, the message of Jesus in almost every teaching. And they just amazing. I'm so blessed to have my children here and being a part of a Catholic education, and spreading that word, as Kate said, that of all the children experiencing this wonderful Catholic education, I think is a huge deal, as well as new prospective families coming in, and how exciting it is to walk down a hallway and just hear it and be a part of it, and us taking the time to be a part of it. We know the faculty, we know the staff, but just for us to be a part of it as well, it helps us share the message. And it's very powerful, and I enjoy spreading that message.
Beautiful. Anna, how has that impacted you?
So kind of piggyback off of Megan, anytime I give a tour or I'm talking to a family, and I let them know that my child goes to the school, it really does change how the tour goes. Because I know for me personally, when I was looking at preschools, daycares for my son before he was able to come to Resurrection, obviously you're trying to feel everything out, and talking to the directors and what are some things that stand out. And any daycare that I would go to that the director's child was there always was different for me, because they truly believe in it. Obviously, if they're going to send their own child there, they must believe in it. So I always kind of start, I have like a little pitch, but I do think it's important. I always start my tours kind of just, giving my history of like what, what I've gone through with Resurrection, and what it means to me. So of course, I always start with how I went to Resurrection, formerly St. Peter Celestine, and all of my 7 siblings went there as well. And then from there, I came back and I started teaching at Resurrection. So right out of college, I've never worked anywhere else but Resurrection. So I always, share that. And then the fact that I loved it so much, I now bring my children here. So I think it's important for them to see that. I think it just gives that little bit, especially preschool families. It gives that little extra piece that if, they're nervous, it's the first time, especially pre-K 3, they're looking and they're trying to figure out what's going to be the best fit. So it's that little extra thing that I think really gets them to come to Resurrection. Just kind of, sharing my love for it and why I believe in it and why I came back. I could have went to other schools, I could have went to public school, but why did I choose this career? Why did I choose right out of college to try to get back into this building? And for us, it just truly is a family. We have had parents come in and after the tour, they're like, wow, those teachers were really nice to us. I'm like, well, of course. I'm like, you are our guests and, you matter to us. And we want every single person when they come into Resurrection to feel like they're part of a family. So after when parents say that, it just like makes me feel so good because we really pride ourselves on that. Our teachers work so hard. Sometimes our teachers, when I'm giving a tour, they'll be in the middle of a lesson, but they still make sure to make the families feel welcome. We will have just passing in the halls, we'll have teachers, stop and, say hello, our aides, our specials teachers, ask personal questions to the families to make them feel special. So all those little things really make all the difference when looking for a school, especially with our preschool families. We want to get them in preschool and want to keep them. So I always tell my families our goal is, I'm excited you're joining us for preschool 3, preschool 4, and I hope that you stay with us until 8th grade and you stay with, our family. So I do think as a parent in the building, having that piece of my child goes here, I believe in this. I believe in this mission and this is important. Our faith is important. I think just like is full circle and just really helps the community.
Beautiful. Mike, we can't hear you.
Me? Yeah, there we go. I want to piggyback on that question, or piggyback with a question, Anna, on that transition from a teacher in the classroom to the advancement director. So how has that impacted your work? Knowing that you're in the classroom, does that maybe create better relationships with the teachers because you were one, or in your work you can talk about that, kind of go into that transition for us from a teacher to advancement?
Yeah, so personally it's been a lot just because when you're a teacher you have your classroom and you have your classroom parents that you focus on and you have your students, right? And then once you jump onto this side, you have all of the families, which is definitely can be a lot, but in a good way, because I feel like when you have such a passion for something, you just want to scream it from the rooftops. So for me, the second that the position opened, even though I was a teacher and that's my degree, I knew that I know the school. I know that I can promote it and I know that I can do the best by it. So I had to give it a shot. And I'm so happy that I did. And I think when it does come to our teachers now, I see both sides. So I think that's nice for them and it's a comfort for them because sometimes I'll send an email and I will literally put in the email, I'm so sorry. I know this is frustrating or annoying. I'm asking for something else from you, but I see them and I understand because as a teacher, I remember when we would, especially Catholic Schools Week, let's talk about that really fast. Because as a teacher, Catholic Schools Week can be a doozy. I actually have been sick this past week and I was home, but I was still getting all my Catholic Schools Week emails out, all my schedules, everything. And literally in those emails, I was saying, so sorry for another email. So I know as a teacher, I would get those and it would be frustrating. You're trying to get your work done. You have deadlines you need to do, especially our middle school teachers. They are not as flexible as our primary and intermediate classrooms. They are not self-contained, so they have like tight schedules and there's things that they need to get done. So I know it can be frustrating. So I always try to remember that and try to spread out my emails in a nice way. But so I think that does help. I just know I want them to always know that I'm on their side, and if there's anything that I can do to take something off of their plate. For example, with all of our Catholic Schools Week stuff, I told them any cards we're making, any little extra things that I can have in your mailbox the day before to help you, I'm going to do that because it is such an important week. It's actually one of my favorites. I used to joke as a teacher because my birthday is January 29th. So it always falls on Catholic Schools Week. So I used to, as a teacher, be like, how annoying. It's always on my birthday and it's a crazy week. But secretly, I do love it. And now as advancement, I love it even more because I really get into the planning. But yeah, anything I can do to make it easier for the teachers, I try to do that.
Is that why there's a happy birthday Anna on the schedule for next week that I saw on the calendar?
Is it really?
Or maybe that was a surprise. I hope I didn't write it. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I didn't put that.
That was a surprise, Mike.
Oh, that was Marianela wrote that. I apologize.
my
It was a shared
goodness.
document. Well, act surprised when we.
Well,
No,
Mike,
I think that's great. I think that I think you probably got that. So sorry for another email. Inspiration from the things that I send to you guys,
Yeah.
because that's usually how I start my emails as a request. But I think that's great. I had one other question. This is more for Kate, given the different levels that your kids are in, and Megan mentioned a sixth grader, so this is a good maybe question for you to listen in on. But how was that experience, Kate, on going from a Catholic elementary school to a Catholic high school for your kids, and as a parent, and now sort of straddling both? I have a seventh grader who is, eagerly looking at all the offerings and is excited to do the open houses and things of that nature. So what was that like for you as a parent? And again, secretly hoping and succeeding and having them go to Camden Catholic, but, just navigating that world with them.
It was so interesting actually for me because we are St. Rose parishioners, and back when Seamus was in pre-K, we attended the St. Rose open house, and then and that was really our only option because we knew it was such a community-based school. We live in Haddon Heights. But it was really interesting going through those 9 years at St. Rose with him and seeing, his best friends with older siblings and kind of how they were funneling to different high schools and making their choices. And me working at Camden Catholic, always waving the green flag at St. Rose, being like, what about Camden Catholic? What about Camden Catholic? You guys should check it out, because I am also an alum and I am, third generation. I married a Camden Catholic graduate as well. And I've always been very involved in Camden Catholic. Even when I wasn't working here, I was, volunteering on different committees and things like that. So yes, I was definitely always hoping he would choose here. And thankfully he did. And thankfully, actually, several of his classmates did as well. But they also, a few of them were children of legacies, so that helped. And then a few of them actually said to me, we would have never even considered Camden Catholic were it not for you guys, which was so great. And I always say to everyone, because I think some of them feel strong-armed sometimes, inadvertent, but I'm like, I am not. I said, we are a huge Camden Catholic family, but I said, make the choice that's right for your child. And I never hold that against anyone. I always say to them, visit every open house, do a guest day at every school, go to a game or a play or both at every high school. And also, we pay such high taxes in New Jersey. I understand if you cannot make this work, but also there's tuition assistance, there's incredible scholarships. So I do wave that Camden Catholic flag proudly, but it's awesome to also see, as the kids go through middle school, what other events and admissions, marketing things that other high schools do, and non-diocesan as well. So it's a really valuable experience for me to have children, go through my own children go through that process. And then for them to say, well, this high school is doing this, Mom, or this high school is doing this, and one of my friends is going to choose this school. I really want them to choose Camden Catholic. So it's super valuable. And, like Mike, you always say, like, you can't make a bad choice in the diocese. They're all great high schools. And let your child make the best choice for you. They're going to know where they feel comfortable. But having kids go through the middle school, and it can be like a heartbreaking process too. Some kids find it's just so hard for them to make the choice, and they feel like they're choosing friends instead of the school. And, that age is a really tough age. So I always just try and, give them my honest experience and tell them that I'll love them no matter what. So, and thankfully my kids do have friends. So many friends here at CCHS, but also friends at all the different high schools as well as public schools. And I've told them that as well. Like, you're going to stay friends with who your friends are, no matter where they go to school.
Yeah.
It is amazing that, the nowadays, like, this is a very common trend right now where kids are helping their parents make the decision of where they're going to high school. And they have a very important say in what that's going to be. And, I think the parents are guiding them through the process, but there's a lot of weight in what, where they want to be as well. So we offer the opportunity to tour in each one of our high schools and in each one of our elementary schools as well. See what, the best fit it is for your family. So, and I am glad that you gave your son the opportunity to look around and see what, he picked you. So
It's
sounds like
very,
you had a very special mom time when he said, Camden Catholic it is.
it's very funny too. My children have had different after school babysitters who have always been young women who went to St. Rose and then went to different high schools. So my daughters would always say, well, I want to go to this school because so-and-so, my babysitter at the time, went to that high school, is going there. And I'm like, oh, I may not be okay with that. You guys know we're a Camden Catholic family, but thankfully Tess has chosen here. I'm pretty sure the next two will as well.
Fingers crossed. We go 4 for 4, right?
We'll
That's
see.
great.
Why don't we talk about Our Lady of Hope a little bit now? And Megan, I have a question for you. So being the newest of the newest in the advancement director's role in an elementary school level, what inspired you to join this kind of work? Like, an advancement director's role is one that, at least at the elementary level, means wearing a lot of hats and like being involved in multiple things. And the admissions department is the admissions department of one, and fundraising and, you name it. What inspired you to say yes to this call, and why are you doing it?
I think I've repeated myself 10 times already, but I believe in this education so much. I'm a product of this education of the Camden Diocese. I went to Annunciation in Belmar, and I'm a graduate of Gloucester Catholic. So as Kate said, the Irish run deep, the Rams run deep in our family. And so being a product of this education, I am a huge supporter and a huge advocate for it. My mom and dad sacrificed a lot for us to have an education like this. So I really wanted to be a part of the story. My children have been a part of the story since they've been born, but I truly wanted myself to be a part of the story as well, and to really communicate to the world that we're doing some really great, amazing things, and this education really makes a difference in all our children's lives, and just they're just great humans. And I get compliments on all the time on how my children behave and how they're just great people, and just giving back. The community service that we all do is just amazing. And just being here in Our Lady of Hope for 2 short months, we have fed the hungry, we have clothed and donated socks, and just putting the word out, being as new as I am, just putting the word out. And in overnight, I have 2 boxes full of socks, and overnight I have, more than enough snacks for the bake sale so we can raise money for the fires in LA. And just being part of the big message. That's what I want it to be. And I've been loving every minute being here, and it's been very exciting. And so, yeah, just being really part of the message. This is a little bit of a change for me. But it was a calling.
That is incredible. And I think, it goes back to the story of, lot of the people working in our Catholic school system. It's a mission driven poll. It's like people are with us because they want to be, and they want to be part of those people that are spreading the gospel and spreading the good news, and following the mission of the church, and especially of the Catholic education world. So one of the questions I have for you, for those parents who might be listening to us in this podcast today, um, you are moms and you are also workers in the Catholic schools in our diocese. What piece of advice would you give to a family that is, like, on the fence about whether or not it is worth the money and the investment to go to a Catholic school in the Diocese of Camden today? Feel free to jump in as you're kind of like thinking about this question. Kate?
I think there's so many intangibles, but we have so many parent and student testimonials that speak to these values that have just blossomed during our students' time at Camden Catholic. And even, I mean, we have many students who aren't actually Catholic who attend Camden Catholic. We have students who have become way more involved in the Catholic Church than they ever have before during their 4 years at Camden Catholic. We have incredible service opportunities, like Megan mentioned, that people do service all over the country and in the public school system as well. But there's a certain specialness to partnering with, the Sisters of St. Joseph Neighborhood Center in Camden, where we have students go regularly and they get to know the people who are standing in line waiting for what they're coming to pick up. That's much needed. And our kids end up going throughout the summer to those service opportunities because they feel such a great pool to serve others. And they get to know the sisters who are running the neighborhood center. They get to know the neighborhood. I mean, those kind of opportunities aren't really available anywhere else. And the opportunity to, learn about your faith more and to put it into action in the best way that you see fit, and to sign up for the retreat that you think is going to best fit with your, not only with your schedule, but with your interests. I mean, we have Catholic Athletes for Christ, we have Catholic Performers for Christ. So it's, in grammar school, I think, it's very clearly laid out for you, your religion classes and the sacraments and all of that. And then once you get to the high school level, it's so nice to see how students can kind of like just build on that and get to know their faith and reflect in like an entirely new way that's fitting with their maturity level. And then when you kind of see where some of our students go after high school, like the fact that we have however many students at Catholic University right now, and the bishop went down there and had lunch or dinner with them when he was there earlier this year. Like, what an amazing connection to make, and connection to have way beyond these, these four walls in Cherry Hill. I mean, the fact that he went out of his way to schedule that meetup with them. And I was so happy when I saw that photo, because it just speaks to kind of who our kids are and who they're continuing to be, and what they're continuing to give back out into the world. But I certainly know it's a sacrifice. My husband and I laugh all the time about, and Father Joe Capella used to say it too, when people would drive by Camden Catholic, parents who had sent a few kids here, they'd say, "There's our shore house," because
there's our Disney trip.
Yeah, or there's our Disney trip. That's what my husband and I talk about, vacations we've sacrificed and things like that, because it's a major sacrifice. But there's literally, I would never change it for the world. When I see the children that Seamus and Tess are growing into, my own two here at Camden Catholic, and the stories that they share with me, and the fact that, like, we're so lucky to have Father Robbins here, and Mrs. Schoening, our ECHO intern from the University of Notre Dame, and our entire religion staff who each bring something different to the table. It's like I said, it's kind of intangible, but when you see who our students become, it's a really special thing.
it's like a come and taste a little bit of it and you'll see. Like come and see and taste the school and you will see the difference. You will experience that. What about you, Anna?
Yeah. I mean, I think Kate, you really just like hit the nail on the head there. The one thing I can just say, the one word to sum it up is faith. You know, that is how we stand out. And you know, we can use our faith in so many ways. Sometimes people come into tours and, you know, they're like, all right, well, how many times do you go to church? And you know, when do you have religion class? And you know, I do share that information with them, but it's so important to also let them know that it's our entire day. You know, you can be in math class and you can talk about your faith, and you can be in social studies and science, and you can, you know, share something. And I think that is what makes us stand out. Even you're having hard times with friends, especially for our elementary schools, the littles, if they're having, you know, issues in their friend group, and you can bring the faith in. What would Jesus do? How would Jesus treat, you know, his friends? And it seems so simple, but it makes such an impact on these children. The different groups that we have, you know, we have a full-time counselor, and that's something that, you know, she will do, is she'll bring small groups in, and you know, can bring in that faith piece. So, you know, so when we have a lot of people recently that have been coming in from the public school, and they always say something's missing. And I'm like, well, this is what's missing. I said, if you want to come to Resurrection, this is what you're going to get. And I think that's the missing piece that, you know, that you're feeling. So, I would definitely just sum it up as faith. We can just use that all throughout the day, all throughout our teachings. It's who we are to our core. And it makes a huge difference in the students and in their education, and then as they go on to high school and so on.
Beautiful. Megan, anything you want to add to that? Like I know a lot was said already, but you may have your own twig.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kate and Anna really summed it all up, but I also wanted just to add, you know, love and kindness. And as Kate said about the product at the end, you know, I am one of those products at the end, you know, going all the way through K-12 here in the Camden Diocese. So that's a great component that I like to share too, that, you know, this is what really goes through all this. The love, the kindness, the faith is part of our everyday, every moment environment here in the Camden Diocese.
That's great.
That's amazing. I have to ask on that, Megan brings up a great point and something that I think I know I experienced, and I think Marianela to an extent as well. But and as everyone has mentioned on the call, that we're products of Catholic education ourselves. So in starting this job, there was all these neat things that I learned about the sort of business side or the inside things that I didn't know as a student, you know. So is there anything, I'll start with Megan, just, you know, especially being so new to the job itself. Was there anything neat or cool or something you experienced that you didn't know about or always wondered about when you were a student, you know, or even a parent now, but just something neat that you found? I will say, as an example, just to get the ball rolling, for whatever reason, seeing the faculty rooms was awesome because you never allowed in there as a student. Yeah, so it was like, what's going on in there? Where did they go to eat lunch? So was there anything neat that like you got to experience? It might just be, you know, a relationship or something different, just anything that you found exciting coming from being a student to now working in the industry.
I think it's the office, you know, the office and how they operate. Holy cow, man, this is like, it's on fire. Like the phone's ringing, the bell's ringing, the kids are coming. And I have to say, our administrators are absolutely amazing at keeping it all straight, making sure who needs to go to the nurse, who needs to do this, who needs to do that, who's going home early, who's going the car line, who's going to aftercare, you know, and they really keep it. I keep a notepad by the phone because if I pick up the phone, I have to write it down. So
Take
I
the
think it's
notes.
this atmosphere being in the office has really, I'm like, holy cow, as a student, and then as a parent, I'm like, holy cow, I'm so sorry I called.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was so confused. But man, they have such patience and such love for these students, and they're their own. You know, they really truly treat them like their own. So I've learned so much. Just being here in the office with our staff has just been amazing.
That's
Such
great.
a
I always
wonderful
apologize
perspective.
to the sorry, Marianela. I always apologize to the St. Margaret staff when I walk in there for a meeting, because I have to call. I'm sorry again that they're not going to aftercare. You know, we didn't know I was gonna be able to pick them up. You know, because I know that's like sends all
Yeah, the
kinds of
whole
stuff going.
thing.
Well,
How about
one of the
for
things too, like Megan, just wanted to add, like, even as an employee now of the school, you were a parent before at another, like, at Resurrection, actually, before you moved to Our Lady of Hope, and you see the emails of like re-enrollment is coming, please do this, fill out this form. Have
Yeah.
that changed your perspective? And now,
Yeah.
being the one that is sending those emails, and how, like, how you need them and return them.
Yes, and how I had to send myself one to
yeah?
re-enroll my own children. So yes, it's changed my whole perspective on things. So it's been great though. But yeah, definitely. I'm like, man, I am so sorry.
That might be the title of this podcast. We'll tell our producer Mike that we're just gonna call this one "Sorry, everybody."
Sorry.
How about for you, Anna? I mean, again, you've got a couple layers: student, teacher, now advancement. Like, what was something different, even when you became a teacher? Maybe that was different from your experience as a student.
I think the biggest thing that I've noticed was with advancement, all of the events and the planning that goes into the events. So our parents are absolute rock stars. And as a teacher, I'll admit my first couple years teaching at Resurrection, I started at 22. So my goal was to teach and to get out as fast as I could and to enjoy being 22. And, I had a boyfriend and, just you're 22, right? And then as you get older, you mature, and I would go to more events on the weekends, but I never really went to too many things on the weekends. I was like, no way, I don't want to see the kids on the weekend, And then, so I didn't know too much. And then as I got a little bit older, and then when I got married, I started having kids. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go to the bunny breakfast. Maybe I'll go and do those things. And they were awesome events. But it was right before I took advancement, I actually was asked to join the PTO as the teacher liaison, which didn't last long because then I moved to advancement, but I was the teacher liaison for maybe a few months. So I got a little bit of the inside of like what goes on with the PTO, but holy cow, now knowing everything, I'm like, I work directly with the PTO now, and everything that they do, these parents are volunteers. They have full-time jobs, and the amount of work that they do for our school, the amount of time they spend making these events so beautiful, it so much goes into them, and there are so many people that come together, and it really is so beautiful. But that's something I didn't know before, how much work actually went into all of these things, and how much planning and budgeting and all of that was a side that I just didn't know about. So our parents are absolute rock stars, and they deserve so much credit for everything that they do.
How about for you, Kate?
I agree with both of these ladies. I mean, the whole behind the scenes business in our business office, but also just pulling off these regular events, even like our all school mass, that is an event. I mean, that has to be set up and broken down. And are there any special guests attending? Even making sure the flags are up on the flagpole every day. Like there are all of these things that have to be taken care of. And, thankfully with the Catholic education, it's just a sense of everything moves like clockwork. Someone is sick, someone else picks it up and does it, and makes it happen. Another kind of fun thing is, like you mentioned, Mike, like getting to see the teachers lounge and things like that. And there are some teachers here, although who were here when I was a student at Camden Catholic. Many have retired, but it is so fun to kind of hang out with them now as a colleague instead of a student teacher relationship. And it's on that point, it's so sweet to see how much, and Jack Phipps, God rest his soul, who passed away last year, but he was one of my teachers, and he every time was before he retired would say, how's that husband of yours? His class was my favorite class, Kate. And I'd say, no, it wasn't. My class is your favorite class.
Yeah.
And he'd say, and then he'd go through different people in my husband's class and talk about them and different troublemakers and then great kids and people he placed in, because he was a guidance counselor as well, people he placed in specific colleges. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you remember this? It was so long ago, but the care that these teachers have for their students, not just that are here right now in these 4 grades, but from like decades ago, it's so special to experience that as an adult. So that part is really, really nice too.
One of my first favorite experiences of visiting Camden Catholic when I started here was still seeing Mr. Crawford.
Yes.
And talking to him from an adult perspective, it's just an incredible thing. And remembering Dr. Because he was my guidance counselor at Camden Catholic. It's incredible that and that was like another message, right? That it's lasting. They stay here because they care about the kids. So it's so true.
I was going to add to like Kate's, experience at Camden Catholic. Who knew that, as part of being the senior marketing person at Camden Catholic, you would also be able to have some fun with it. Bring a mascot to Camden Catholic, who's very famous and, is able to work with you as well. And he does an amazing job. Can you talk a little bit about that, Kate?
Sure. He's right here, actually. And I know our listeners can't see him, but here he is.
Frank. There's Frank.
Yeah, so during COVID, we got a puppy, but we were scheduled to get him before COVID hit, and the administrators were still coming into the building. So I brought Frank with me to roam the halls to get some energy out as a puppy. And as we started having different cohorts come in, I would bring him in a day here or there, but the kids absolutely love him. So he is now Frank, the Camden Catholic mascot, much more popular than the leprechaun. And I bring him to games, even to basketball games, indoors, soccer games, field hockey games, football games. He was out on the football field when the homecoming king and queen were crowned this year. He's a part of the family. The kids absolutely love him. I brought him in this week because it's exam time and the kids they came to get a lucky pet and give him some of their soft pretzel at the break. And he's just a real special part of the school community, and the kids love him. It's sweet.
So much fun, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we're almost wrapping up here. So if your child would have to say to another peer, like, what is it that your mom does for your particular schools? Can you describe it with like 2 or 3 words as we're getting closer to the end of our program here? Megan?
I would say my kids would say she does the Instagram for Camden Catholic.
Much more than that, but Megan?
Yes.
My little one says, my mom works here.
Plain and simple.
What about Anna? What would they say?
Bryson says, my mom works at my school.
Yeah.
So he doesn't realize that I've been there. It is his school, his friends, his community, and I just work there. And he actually is he's very confused because in pre-K 3, I had a classroom. So he would always come to my big classroom. Now I have an office, and that's very confusing to him. He doesn't understand why I have a small office now. And he doesn't, I also share with our vice principal, he doesn't understand why Mrs. Powers is in my office and why I have an office now. But it's his building. I just work there.
We'll have to see how that transitions as they get older.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right, Mike. So
That's
we've
great.
come to the end of the show. Do you have anything else you would like to ask or say at this moment?
No, I like all this. I think it was a wonderful episode. I thank you all for being with us. I now have to go home and ask my kids what they think I do. I think I would get the Instagram or Facebook thing, like Kate.
Yeah.
I think he does stuff with websites. I mean, they're like both kind of sort of proto teenagers at this point. And so it's sort of like they just know I show up at the school sometimes with a camera or my cell phone. But I do thank you guys. I am again encourage at the end here for families to check out all three of the schools mentioned here, as well as all of our Catholic schools in the area, especially during this Catholic Schools Week. Look at our Facebook page, look at our Instagram page. We're going to have tons of content up there for Catholic Schools Week. Check out their websites, their social media. It's all, you can start at southjerseycatholicschools.org to get all the links to them. But we really hope you experience it. This was a fun episode to do. So thank you all. And as always, Marianela, thank you. I always have a good time when we get to do podcasting together. So.
Of course, and thank you everybody for listening to Talking Catholic. Remember, it's re-enrollment season, and also we are open to new families. So please keep looking at our Catholic schools. Consider us as an option. And we're happy to be with you in another episode of Talking Catholic. Until the next one.